Fox News alert, ISIS calling on its followers to attack churches as millions of Americans prepare to head out to Christmas Mass.
Federal authorities on alert after pro-ISIS websites publishing a list of churches and pastors in the United States.
Officials saying there are no credible threats, but sent the warning out of an abundance of caution. We have Father Jonathan Morris here this morning to talk about faith and the holidays, but also talk about this really alarming threat.
It's hard to wake up to, honestly, and as I was coming here this morning, I thought, and they changed the topic to this topic because it's such a pressing item right now. I was thinking about all of those Christians who have decided to stay in the Middle East and not seek refuge. There was a lot of criticism of the Obama administration because all of the refugees, basically, except a very small percentage, have been Muslim, not Christians. And a lot of people have said, why don't you bring the Christians over first? They need asylum. But many of them, and the reason is many of them have decided to stay there because this is our homeland, and we need to make sure that we keep our faith here in the Middle East. And I was thinking about that as this threat comes out now, to say maybe it's our turn now.
Yeah.
It's our turn to just decide we're not going to run away from danger, meaning running away from our faith, and to actually decide to do those things that maybe put us in danger but are worth fighting for, living for, dying for.
That's so inspiring because it was only a few months ago that the priest, it was in France, right, who was killed by ISIS.
Yep. And I think of that sometimes when you're out there on the altar. I'm in the Bronx. It's a wonderful place, but it's a crazy place. And that's maybe why we love it. But you're there, you're a target. You're a target for people who are maybe crazed, but you're also a target, in this case, of people who say we have an ideology of hate, and it has to do with our, quote, religious beliefs.
Well, that's exactly what ISIS wants to do. They want us to live in fear. They want us to stay home from going to church, something that we have always done. I love that message this morning. If you do feel unsure about things, if you do feel frightened, go to church. What is your message this weekend, though, as we are celebrating Christmas Eve today, Christmas tomorrow? What is your message to people?
Well, it's the message that God himself gave to us in the form of a baby. What greater message? Nobody's afraid of a baby, right? We hug babies. Babies they need us. And God is telling us in the Christian faith, I have decided to need you. And I am going to come in a form where you, no matter your fears and anxieties, your own sin, your own background, your own messiness, who can't hold a baby? And God is saying, I'm going to make myself a size and also a form where you can embrace me. And that's the message of redemption. He wants to be embraced by us, and then in turn, he embraces us with eternal life.
I love that.
Father John, last question. Something that you had mentioned earlier, you said that up on the altar you sometimes think about being a target. When people get ready to go to church at midnight tonight or tomorrow morning, should they expect, based on what you've heard, to see any kind of a different security measure at their church than they might have seen at some other places that they go, the mall or to a movie theater?
I called the local precinct, the police precinct here in New York this morning, very early when I saw this, and we have a very good working relationship with them, and I said, without putting people off, I don't want people police standing there at the door checking people, but please be attentive. And I'm going to tell my congregation, thank God we have police officers in New York and around the country who are willing to put their lives at risk in order to defend us. And yes, we have to take ISIS seriously. They're telling us we're going to do this. But we have to take seriously our ability to say, even so, I will not change my life and I will not abandon my faith out of fear.
Thanks for your inspiring message. Merry Christmas.
Father John, good to have you here.
We got more done today than most people.
I love that. We did.
Most people are sleeping until noon.
That's very true. We always love having you here.
Thank you.
We do have some other headlines.